Okay. Okay. Oh, good to see you. Um, wow. Okay, there's been a lot going on over here. So I know there's a lot going on over there because we're one. And that interesting because I wrote a couple of things down this morning just when I was waking up. The awakening is a constant process. And this has nothing to do with a spiritual process. Okay. And I know we talked about death the other day. Great topic, huh? Um, and and somehow the topic of death always brings up these thoughts of spirituality for me. And I had to remind myself that this awakening is a constant process. It doesn't end. And someone said something to me the other day, and it just kind of reminded me of this. I just said, how's your end of the illusion? And oh, she was talking about like something is shifted and that she's now awake. I mean, that was the inference. And I went back to my room and I sat with that thinking, yeah, I know that those thoughts, but the problem is there is no awake to get to. Okay. And I just want to repeat this. The awakening is a constant process. It has nothing to do with a spiritual process. Now, you can access awakening through spirituality, but I almost feel like spirituality is kind of the booby prize because we have so many beliefs tied into spirituality. But then we have to look at those. So maybe that's a good thing. Um, but I'm going more into quantum just because I really find for me right now, this is very helpful. And the quantum field is the unified field of interconnectedness. Okay, that's the quantum field. And really, what Jesus is talking about is all quantum, all quantum. I just finished watching Oppenheimer, and then I watched another one. Oh, it was about Heisenberg, who was the Nazi equivalent of Oppenheimer. Fascinating. Anyway, and their whole thing was quantum mechanics. I mean, that was Einstein too. And now, given how dark our one mind was at the time, it was, focused on this atom bomb and killing people. And it's kind of like, wow, that's dark. And the reality is the quantum field is not dark. It's a reminder that we're in this together. And are we seeing the love that we are? Now, this is Jesus jumps in here. Are we seeing the love that we are? And it has nothing, today's topic, just in case there's a topic in here. Today's topic is love. I thought we'd follow up death with love. And so today's topic is love. And the reality is, it's not special. Love is not special. And that's somewhere in the text. I should have looked this up before, but somewhere in the text, Jesus even says, you don't have a clue what love is. And I get that. I totally get that. No, I don't have a clue what love is. And I'm open to evolving and receiving love as a quantum field, not special. I'm not interested in special. I've done a lot of special love, failed miserably, but I've done a lot of special love. And it's like, and it always ends up with someone says something or does something, or, and it doesn't last and it goes away. And then you find someone else that's special and, try the same tricks that we tried on the other ones and ends up the same. Dark and dead. And okay, on to the next. So, what we're talking about, what Jesus is talking about, is really quantum love. Quantum love. It's a love that has no relationship to form. Okay? Love has no relationship to form. But you see, I was born into this life without any assistance on how to think. And so I learned you love your mom, love your dad. You usually have special friends that you can say you love until they do something that pisses you off. Then you don't love them anymore. That was the world I came into. And now I really find myself wanting to go way beyond that. I want to go quantum. I just want to go quantum. And it's like, then that means I just love, not form. It's what I wake up to in the morning. When my eyes first open and I move into this conscious awareness of life. I want to experience love. I don't want to experience that I didn't sleep well last night. I don't want to experience pain. I don't want that. That's not quantum. That's ego trying to divert all attention back into the dark side. And I'm no longer wanting to go to the dark side. I want far more laughter in my life. I want joy. I want outrageous joy. When I wake up in the morning, I want to wake up laughing. That's what I want. Okay? I don't, and this goes along with this whole thing of these young people. God, I just love these young people that are just, they're doing it very differently, is all I can say. And what that says to me is, I have to do this very differently. And so it is about letting go of the story, whatever the story is. Really, I can't say that enough. Stories can be helpful once you get them. You've dissected them and you see the belief behind them and you see what you needed to learn from them. And that's all with forgiveness and Holy Spirit and prayer. And then once you get those beliefs, you've uprooted them, you've dismantled them, the mind is clearer, then you can come into this place of just experiencing joy. Because remember, that's who we are. We're a loving thought in the mind of God. That's all we are. And then everything else in this world that we have piled onto us, me, calico, the form, oh, it's exhausting. It's just exhausting. It's all form-based. And what did I say originally? I can't remember what I said originally, but quantum love has nothing to do with form. Quantum love is just the experience of who we are without all the bullshit we're telling ourselves. Make sense? Because we just cover up our light. We don't have to find our light. There's nothing to find in this awakening process. Absolutely nothing. You're not going to find anything. But what you are going to do is reveal your beauty. You're going to reveal your expansiveness and just divine nature. And, you know, I just, it's probably a great thing that I didn't have children, but if I had had children, I would like to think that I would just refer to their greatness every moment. I would refuse to see any smallness, no matter what they said. You know, there was a friend of mine once, she had, well, not once, she still is, but she had a child, and this was a while ago, the child was getting bullied at school. Bullying's a big thing. And the little girl was having a very hard time with being bullied. And this friend of mine said to her, saying, well, they just forgot that they're loved. Out of the fucking mouth of babes. And it's kind of like, wow, I would like to think that if I were raising a child, I would just remind them of who they really are. No brokenness. Because again, I see these young people that are just awakening to their greatness. They're awakening to their joy. I subscribe to all these young puppies. And one of them did a little, I don't know what they call it. It's like on their phone, and I can't even figure out a phone. I've got one sitting over here. I can't program. It's not my generation. But they got on their phone, and it was like, I don't know, it must have been about 3 minutes. They were at some trampoline place, and they were just jumping up and down, laughing out loud. Just laughing out loud. And I just thought to myself, when have I allowed myself that experience? Particularly to go online and just do a 3-minute segment, a 3-minute segment on laughing out loud. Just because, And so, I really want to join with you. You're the gifts of God in my life, in just letting go of the pretense that there's anything wrong. There's nothing wrong. It's an act. It's a cover-up. And I don't want to cover that up anymore. I want to experience that joy on a regular basis. I want to have like those 3-minute, little YouTubes of some 19-year-old jumping on a trampoline, just giggling like crazy, just experiencing the joy that he is. And I haven't done that much in my life around that. I had horses, and I must say, when I was riding horses, I had that joy. You just get on the back of a horse and just go for it. It was one of those, form-based loves, but it allowed me to get outside of my head for a short period of time. And that's, my whole focus now is to live quantum outside of my thinking, because my thinking keeps me stuck and dragging me around from one, wow, look at this, that's too bad. Wow, no, come over here, look at this. Wow, that's really bad. And that's what I was watching, Oppenheimer, it's like, here are the greatest men in history, that did fusion, that were working on quantum mechanics, and their lives were dark. And I'm not saying fusion couldn't be joyful, but that's not where they were coming from. And so what they were experiencing and projecting was the dark side of fusion. That's all. I related completely to it, because I got, this parable that I came from, got into medicine to fix people, so to allow them this joy. The problem is, I saw them as broken and needing something in order to release their joy, which is a huge belief that I had to let go of. And once I did, then there's no needing to fix anyone for being broken. And now I feel like I'm moving into the next step, not even allowing the thought of darkness in. And I'm, you are my test case. This little Zoom, all these little windows here, I see all these little faces and smiles. And I just need to say, you are my experiment into projecting faces that return looks of joy or clarity or miracles or whatever. And now I'm going to take this and hopefully move it into the outside world where I still get caught up and have to go back and pray for forgiveness and stuff like that. But I really feel like I'm at the point now that it's time to move beyond forgiveness. And whether you're there or not, just know the access to this, the access to being in that vertical joy, jumping up and down on a trampoline, YouTubing yourself and giggling for 3 minutes, is to move beyond forgiveness and really allow that little spirit inside of you that just really wants to giggle, wants to laugh, wants to just have fun. And that means moving way beyond our stories of whatever we view as wrong or broken or not good enough or whatever. I've had all those thoughts. But so I guess more than love, this YouTube is about releasing the experience of the truth of who you are, which is a joyful thought in the mind of God. Because you are that. You don't have to get this. Yet there's nothing to get. It's to remove all those filters that are blocking our light from being extended. That joyful sprite inside of me that just wants to have a good time and love and live and giggle and laugh. Okay? So find one filter today that you can let go of. I guess that's a good place to start. You can't do them all at once. Find one filter that you know you're using to block your life. Mine, one of the big ones that I've worked on for about a decade now was this idea of having cancer. And it's like, oh, I'd wake up with a dark cloud. Oh, what's going to happen today? And the reality is nothing, nothing. It's like someone said in the Zoom in our private session last time, it's like, they've had close people die in their world. And then they said, but nothing happened. I know. It's like, that's the joke, folks. Nothing has happened. But in our minds, we have incredible stories. And it's like, and it's time to really let those go. And it's not like they're just going to disappear. They need some focus. So if you have I love work on the recurring thoughts. That's probably the best way to do this. There's a recurring thought, for me, it was, cancer, pain, whatever. And I worked on that, every time any thought would come across my mind of pain or the thought of dying or cancer or whatever, Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. It was automatic. And now those thoughts don't even enter my mind. I must say, I do wake up in the morning and I ground myself. I kind of take a look at what thoughts are lurking in the mind of this person right now. And sometimes there's something to work on, and oftentimes there's not. And it's like, okay, I'm just going to get up and go pee then. And that's as complicated as my life gets these days. And I offer all of us, because we're all connected. We're in the quantum field, the unified field of interconnectedness. See, I don't have a mind that I'm using, and you have a mind that you're using. We're using the same mind, but the filters, our script has given us filters, our favorite filters, whatever your favorite filter is. Everyone has their own favorite filters. And it's find those filters that don't bring joy and turn them over to Holy Spirit as quickly as possible. As soon as that thought comes through your mind, oh my God, these people are annoying. Whoops. One of my favorite filters to see annoying people. Does that bring me joy where I want to YouTube and bounce on a bouncy for 3 minutes giggling? No, it doesn't. It immediately brings me down into the familiar state of egoicness that wants me to suffer as much as possible. Because, and this is, a very Catholic idea, because I loved the saints. I loved, the young baby saints that, saw miracles and stuff like that. Well, my Catholicism left me with, I'm a sinner. and it doesn't matter how I want to see myself as a loving thought in the mind of God. I was a sinner first. And in Catholicism, back when I did it, I'm sure it's changed, but you had to go through a priest in order to talk to God. I couldn't even talk directly to God. I had to go through a priest. And I fought that. So it took me a while to unravel that whole thing. And that's why this is not necessarily a spiritual process. Now, it can be a spiritual process. And for me right now, it is a spiritual process, because my life is about unwrapping this mind that keeps wanting to buy into doom and gloom and death as horrible and bad. And just another thought on death, because this came up after I chatted with you the other day. It's not bad to have sadness. If someone dies and, you're tearing up, that's okay, not a problem. But when you're crying, what I want you to remind yourself is what you loved about the person. Don't get stuck in those things that you wish you had done differently, or wish you had said differently, or, that's just bringing up the shame and guilt that we attach to relationships. I mean, that's kind of what relationships are for. We allow ourselves to bring up guilt and shame over things that we're not saying, or things that we wish we could say, but we can't, so we'll stay in the shame. And all I can say is, when someone dies that you love, just keep refocusing. When the tears come up, just go, God, I just loved, and I'm thinking one of my father right now. I just loved that he loved putting mayonnaise on hamburgers. Made me crazy, but he loved it. And so if he loved it, I can join in his love of it. And that's where, it kind of just reframes the sadness into something far more divine and expansive. And that's what we want to get to. So with that being said, we're going to say goodbye to our YouTube friends. Goodbye, YouTube friends. And we're going to get into some stuff in our quiet little group here. So let me do this.